Well, bullying in the armed forces was brought into the public glare earlier this month as the inquest into Corporal Anne-Marie Element, who killed herself amid work-related despair. Tonight, a paratrooper left a triple amputee after Afghanistan, tells this programme. He was bullied out of the armed forces on his return. The Defence Secretary has just announced a new ombudsman to take charge of military complaints. And as our chief correspondent Alex Thompson now reports, documents passed to this programme suggest critics are right to say little will change.
Blown up in battle, bullied back in the army, bullied again for complaining. Tonight, paratrooper Tom Neathway talks exclusively about why today's changes can't come soon enough. He suffered months of bullying, a typical comment from an NCO. You're not much of a para now, are you?
I know I'm not much of a paratrooper, as in I can't do that paratrooper job anymore. I mean, yes, I'm missing my arm and legs, but to have someone say that to you in the way that he said it, it's sickening. It really is.
So today the Ministry of Defence has announced a new ombudsman, new powers, which it says will directly intervene on cases, and the ministry says make a real difference.
The Ombudsman will make a recommendation directly to the Defence Council. That's the highest body in defence in the UK, chaired by the Secretary of State. It effectively bypasses the chain of command and goes right to the top.
Internal MOD documents obtained by this programme prove the ministry is well aware its complaint system doesn't work, and the chain of command is central to that problem. Today the MOD told us,
the chain of command also has a responsibility to handle all complaints on whatever subject, fairly, effectively and efficiently. In most cases that is exactly what happens, but in too many cases there are delays.
increasingly in the UK we accept that allowing public institutions to investigate themselves simply doesn't work. Yet for years the MOD have fought tooth and nail to keep the investigation of issues like bullying firmly in-house, and yet the bullying keeps happening and it keeps grabbing the headlines. So critics argue, have an independent oversight able to make decisions and allow the forces to get on with what they do best, fight. But the MOD says the armed forces are different. All organisations have internal complaint systems, so external decision making here is a non-starter, they believe. Not so, say critics. Ross MacLeod was an army officer for 15 years. He's presented evidence of service bullying to Parliament.
The new Ombudsman is being recruited on the MOD jobs website for the MOD to select, and their staff will be MOD employees, as the current incumbent is. Their investigations will then be passed to the MOD for the MOD to make a decision. So they're not independent in the normal English meaning of the word.
Channel 4 News has obtained this internal flowchart from the MOD. It's from September, but it details how they wanted today's announced system to be. Small powers of review and recommendation only for the Ombudsman, the real decisions left with the military, as they always have been. In response, the MOD said,
the military is a unique organisation. The complaints handling system has to balance the authority of the chain of command with the right level of independence.
But what of paratrooper Tom Neathway, not long ago a poster boy for the MOD, even carrying the Olympic torch? Used by the military to promote the work they've done for wounded soldiers. Yet, when this young man complained about being bullied, the nightmare got much worse.
You don't try and screw over one of your own, and they blatantly have to protect themselves. And for someone like myself as well, I think it's bang out of order. A wounded soldier who's done so much for the military and given back so much, and to have these guys do that to me, I think it's sickening.
He ended up, he says, forced out of the army. 3 years on, Tom Neathway's complaint continues, and that's why the Ministry of Defence won't comment on it. But would today's changes have made any difference to him?
The only difference would be that after 6 months, if he survived that long through the process, he would then be able to go to the Ombudsman and ask them to have a look at it, and they would make a recommendation and say to the MOD, we think that you might not have handled this very well, and the MOD would then have the option of overturning their previous decisions to which they'd already committed themselves throughout that 6-month period. It's more of the same.
Tom Neathway simply hopes that by speaking out tonight, some good will come of it.
I'm hoping that things will change and change for the better. I'm hoping that it's not so difficult to put in a complaint. I mean, it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. If this was to happen in any other environment, it wouldn't be like this.
The key is to somehow escape the culture where bullying is a problem, and so is bullying people who complain about bullying. Today's small procedural changes are unlikely to achieve that.
Alex Thompson reporting.